It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're kicking off Week 12 of the NFL season tonight. So much to get to as we welcome you into this Thursday edition of Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. As always, Jeff Erickson of RotoWire is going to check in with us a little bit later on in the show as well, get into some prop betting options, not only for tonight, but for the weekend at large. How are you, buddy?
Missed opportunity for you. The way we presented is tonight. We have a lot going on this evening.
No, it's Monday night.
Well, that's something different. What I'm referring to is actually something I have forgotten the original,
Well, that
reference.
Doesn't help me at all.
But you got to do it tonight.
And it's not even like that's something you can Google, because if you just write tonight, ! What are you going to get?
It also, when I think of that, I also think of one of my other favorite deep cuts. This I actually do remember. Is when Danny Werfel won the Heisman. I can't remember who was presenting it. We can look up the YouTube video. But when the man presenting it was Danny Werfel from Florida. And he said it just like that. So it's always good when you talk about Florida. But either way, I am fired up. I'm ready to go. It doesn't feel like work. I am very much looking forward to Thursday night tonight. Can't wait for that, as well as some interesting NBA games on the card.
That sounded a little bit like a Gus Johnson voice break when Fernando Mendoza made the throw. That's kind of what it was giving a little bit. And yeah, we do have a lot of fun stuff to get to, and we will. Kudos to you on the hoops last night. That went well.
You're doing it on purpose.
Why can't I just say nice things about you? I don't understand why it frustrates you so much. Do you not take compliments well at home?
Well, no, I don't take compliments well, but more so, you're going to, last time you did that, the Raiders got their rear ends kicked. So, it's just.
Maybe I should stop being nice to you, because it's really derailing my success rate here. 2-2 for me yesterday. Did you see? But we got a couple plus money ones home. The Wild.
I watched hockey. That's why I texted you, because the Wild went up 2-0 yesterday, and I had it on the quad box, and that's why I texted you last night. I was like, yeah, I think you had this one. So yeah.
Did you see what it came down to, though?
I'll admit I stopped watching after they went up 2-0.
No. They go up 2-0.
Okay.
They go up 3-1.
Yeah.
This bad boy goes to freaking overtime.
Oh, that's right, it did. Yeah.
And a shootout, to which miss, make finally for the Wild, miss on Carolina. And that's how we got home when all was said and done. But I was very stressed last night.
I feel like you could have presented that as only one shootout goal as opposed to.
Maybe, but it was the last one that the Wild had the opportunity to make it on. And I was just, after the last week, I was like, I need good things to happen to me today. And it finally did.
And for the night, you were up. So that's what matters as well.
Yes. And I was right in avoiding the Calgary Buffalo Sabres game. And I'm very grateful that I did. I said sometimes when things look too easy, it is. And stay away for a reason.
Yeah, that third period was ugly. Buffalo came back, they tied it up. And then all of a sudden, just an avalanche. In the third period.
Even though it wasn't a Colorado game. Yeah. Okay, let's set the table for all the other fun stuff that we have coming up on deck. Yeah, we got to rein it in a little bit. Time for the rundown.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the rundown.
So I know you still have to do a whole show here tomorrow.
It's usually how it works.
But one of the many things that we're going to do today is my best bets for the weekend, because I'll be headed out to Salt Lake City tomorrow morning, but I have a lot of stuff that was put in the account, college football and the NFL. Made my favorite teaser of the weekend. You excited?
Yes, and I was excited. So obviously we have our doc where we put everything in. We get ready for the show the night before, tonight and this morning. And first off, I nailed it. 49ers were one of the teaser legs that Stormy very much wanted to use at multiple legs. The other was, I was like, wow, she's got a lot today. Oh yeah, it's Thursday. So but I'm looking forward to it. I like a lot of what you have.
Oh, that's good. I feel like that's your reaction, though, most Thursdays. Like, oh, why Stormy have so many bets today? Oh, right.
Well, I'm not that far behind you, but if we have our unit count generally in our records at the end when we do our best bets. People will notice Stormy likes to fire. You are ahead of me by about ballparking it 30 plays or so. You're a volume player.
30? Really? I'm that much more?
Yeah, I mean, what do you see? You got 198, 199. I'm at 169.
I get heavy on Sunday props.
You do.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't know I was a volume player until now. We're also going streaking. Keep the clothes on, though, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look at a handful of streaks in the National Football League leading into Week 12. Are they things we think continue or not? And are these trends any that even matter to begin with?
Probably not. I will say there
are a few.
There was 2 in there that I said, all right, I'm going to like that one. That there at least there is some sense there when it comes to some of those.
I think there are a couple
that
are worthwhile. But we're going to kick things off, as we always do, on a primetime Thursday night day with Thursday Night Football. Bills steadily bet up throughout the week from 3 to as high as -6 on the market. 5.5, the number that we're seeing a lot in Houston today. Total 43.5. No CJ Stroud for a 3rd straight week for the Texans as he continues to work his way out of concussion protocol. Davis Mills getting the start again here. Texans will also be without starting nickel Jalen Petrie and linebacker Jamal Hill. For the Bills, Josh Allen, who, fun fact, speaking of streaks, 8-0 on Thursday Night Football in his career. Will it continue? Coming off the 6 total touchdown performance last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Back-to-back pretty decent passing games for Buffalo now. Still worth noting, though, no Dalton Kincaid to pass to. Curtis Samuel, McCole Hardman still out as well. And Keon Coleman, JVT, who missed last week's game with a team-imposed benching for disciplinary reasons, is expected to be inactive again tonight. These injuries, by the way, brought up to you by Spot Odds. If you are a professional bettor like Billy Walters, world-class bookmakers, they use Spot Odds to keep track of all of this stuff. SpotOdds.com. Use the code VSiN for a special discount. Everyone who bets big or books big uses Spot Odds. But the Keon Coleman stuff's weird.
It is. So if we could, I wanted to play this for you because I found this. So I was watching, the press conferences, and Sean McDermott was asked, which, by the way, can I just say really quickly, I watched all of Josh Allen's media availability. Can not one reporter ask him about Keon Coleman? Nobody asked him about it, which was kind of weird considering, he didn't play. But McDermott was asked about this, and listen to what he says, because this was yesterday, and it sounded like maybe Keon Coleman was making the right steps, to which, by the way, we really have no idea what's going on outside of the missed meeting. Here was McDermott yesterday in the media.
I mean, right now it's called a day and a half since game day, so I'm aware of how he handled it, publicly, and I appreciate that, respect that, and now it's, again, one day at a time and earning the trust and respect of the teammates, and that takes time. And so but each day that goes by, that you check them off as wins, the trust builds. So that's an important piece of it.
Yeah, reckless speculation here. There's no shot it was just a missed meeting.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listening to that and then getting the report that he's probably going to sit again today, there's no shot that we're just talking about a missed meeting here.
Because I totally understand the concept of having to earn trust but the way that he's saying that, and that essentially a short week like this isn't enough time if he's inactive again today to earn back that trust is a whole lot more than just a Friday meeting that he was late to or didn't make.
And given now that you read off the injury report, I mean, that's 3 wide receivers that are not going to be available, for assuming that Coleman's not going to be out there.
For what's already been a pretty subpar unit to begin with.
They're struggling. I mean, this is a deep cut, if you will, but remember McCole Hardman, I believe, was the one on the punt return that fumbled, that muffed a punt against the Buccaneers last week, so you're trying to figure out what's going on there. I would assume that not that Coleman's going to return punts, but just that you need bodies at the skill positions, specifically pass catchers, when you talk about Dalton Kincaid being out too. So it's got to be relatively serious. It also leads me to, I took 6 with Houston today. I mean, I think there's only so many things you can overcome with what's already a weak wide receiver core and just group of pass catchers as a whole. We know what this Houston team is. This is the number 1 unit in terms of EPA per play defensively. They're number 3 in success rate. Down to down, it's hard. You don't generate explosives against them. They're able to rush the passer. Expected points added per pass, they are number 1. You lose about 0.18 points in terms of expected points added per pass against the Texans. The next team is 0.1, and that is the Denver Broncos. So there's a pretty decent gap between Houston and Denver with the way that they play. How am I supposed to expect here that they're going to be able, Buffalo, to overcome what is already a weak wide receiver core against a defense like this?
Do you think, too, that kind of the offensive explosion that we saw from the Buffalo Bills against Tampa is what's led to this slight tick toward the over on the total as well, despite all the things that you're saying about the Texans defense?
Yeah, I think it could. I mean, you could also make the argument as well that and the fact that Houston, I think your floor is raised playing a defense like Buffalo's. We know that Buffalo's pretty average to below average in many different categories. So maybe you're expecting more of the Texans performance a la the Jaguars game where you saw a little bit more offensive success. Not so much what we saw last week against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Although, like, even with the Buffalo, their biggest weakness defensively is pretty obviously their run game.
Yep.
26th in the NFL in defensive rush success rate, but the Texans also have bottom 10 rushing offense, so I'm just not sure if that's necessarily an area they're going to take full advantage of. And Davis Mills, for the moments that he's had, is he really that much to write home about? I'm not so sure. All of that to say, for me, I think this game has potential rock fight in it a little bit. And I was even looking at, because I know you love these so much, maybe a little standalone SGT.
There we go.
Maybe you bring the Texans up to double digits, plus 10.5, or plus
11.
I can't do math, plus 11.5, and take the under 50.5. What do you think?
I think that you are the queen of the same game teaser. How have they gone?
I'm like 1 and 2.
I was going to say,
I've only done a few of them.
Narratively, I don't remember them being.
I've only actually played 3 of them, and I believe that I am 1 and 2 in the 3 that I've played.
Okay.
But this one feels like a good spot.
You know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling like this is going to be this weekend, I think, but I just want to put together. I haven't put together like a 10-leg like teaser
just
at some
really
point.
just
You know
blow
what
it
I mean?
out, yeah.
Yeah, or like some of those pleasers are fun too. That's old school though. That's like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where you would go to the book and like fill out all the bubbles and like here's like 15-leg teaser. Let's rock. I'm down with it though.
It just kind of feels like it's got that vibe today.
Yeah.
But those are fun. To your point,
Of course
just
they are.
picking a bunch of them. My little sister, who's 11 years old, my dad and I would like have her pick games for us at one point, and she just, okay, yeah, that one, I like that logo, I
Probably
like
hit
this,
like a million of them.
dude.
Yeah.
She was cashing more tickets than any of our teasers that we would put together, just because she liked a logo.
There you go.
It's crazy. So maybe that's the plan for this weekend.
Remember that.
I'll come in on Sunday and let you know.
Remember that when you wake up bleary-eyed at 5:30 in the morning and you're grinding through expected points added and film and doing all that stuff.
It's like, I should have just asked my little sister for, okay, what? Ooh, you like the stripes on the Bengals helmet? Okay, sounds good.
The equivalent of me hitting Medina Spirit many years ago in the Kentucky Derby because that's my mother-in-law's maiden name.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah, like that was it.
Dude, what are you
That was
going
the logic.
Horse racing. Names are where it's at. Okay, on that note, we're just getting started here on Money Moves. So much more to get to when we come back. Man, our Hornets really suck. We're talking a little association. Hoops next on Money Moves.
It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
As the official horse racing partner of VSiN, First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet. It's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that give data-driven insights to help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner, so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time $250 sign-up offer, but to claim your bonus, you need to use our promo code VSiN250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. That's promo code VSiN250 at First Bet. That's the number 1 stbet.com. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you back here on Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158. We talked about it yesterday, JVT, how strange it was to see the Charlotte Hornets as a 1.5-point road favorite, even against a team like the 1-13 Pacers. And you're right to think that. They got clapped.
They did. Now, I mean, here's the thing. Like we said yesterday, it was a very much, if not now, win moment for the Indiana Pacers. They've been very unhealthy, but the only real missing body for them yesterday was, I'm blanking on who was it. Was it Nemhard? Either way, they were relatively healthy and getting their guys out there. Aaron Neesmith, who wasn't available. So figured bottom of the market. Like, this is always what I'm talking about when you're saying buying low and selling high and everything in between. The Pacers had failed to cover 7 straight. They had lost 8 straight. If there was going to be a time to potentially buy low, it was going to be at home against a Hornets team that, from a power rating perspective and even from a record standpoint, really wasn't that far away from Indiana. So good buy low opportunity. They ended up getting there. Really never had to sweat it if you're watching it. Hornets made a little bit of a fake comeback.
As I said, they made a push.
Yeah.
I was watching
Were you watching?
I was watching the scoreboard.
Okay.
app.
I think they cut it to like 10, if I remember correctly. And then from there on, it was all Indiana. But good win for the Pacers. We'll see if maybe this market low continues and we can kind of ride this wave that they're relatively healthy. And bad one for the Hornets, because you got to say, look, if you're going to take advantage and go over this win total, you want to talk about being unhealthy. I mean, you had LaMelo Ball, you had Miles Bridges, you had Kalkbrenner and some of these other guys. You had Sexton. You were relatively healthy and you couldn't get it done.
Yeah, and through 15 games, that 5th win was important for the pace of what you need in terms of those total wins when all is said and done. This extends their losing streak now out to 4 straight. They've dropped 10 of their last 12. Am I too dramatic in thinking that this isn't going to happen for me?
Oh, in terms of the Hornets win total?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. B might be cooked. Your father. But I think we still have some hope because he's got a little bit of a different number than we do.
Speaking of which, he did text me because he's listening to the show and he heard me get the shout out to my sister. He goes, I'll let her know you gave her the shout out, but true, scary how good her picks are.
Well, maybe
now.
ask her what her thoughts are on the Hornets pace
What do you like on Charlotte?
But I will say, like, if Brandon Miller eventually, because he will come back, it's not like it's a season ender, one would hope, that I think that with the low totals of like 24.5, you might be able to still make this push. They have some really good pieces, so I don't think we're dead by any stretch. One hot streak, and you're right back into it in terms of your pace and tempo to win this. Can I say something really quickly? I haven't mentioned this on the air yet, and having the fact that I have an ESPN employee to my right, this needs to be said, and maybe you can pass this on to the powers that be. ESPN, what they did with these box scores is a pox upon humanity. They changed the way their box scores are set up on the website. They used to have points at the end and minutes up front. Now they have fouls first, then point. It has messed with my entire mind. I don't like the columns. People who actually check these basketball box scores will know what I'm talking about. It's maybe a little bit of a hardcore.
Not on mine.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
My fouls aren't first.
Good. I mean, good for you, because mine has been a nightmare. They changed the format, and I hate it. Absolutely hate it. That's it.
Mine are lined up like that. Points are first.
That's good for you. No, see, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't like the points first.
Because they used to be in the
back.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
But I thought you said fouls are first.
Well,
fouls
for me
are still
right
in
now,
the
it's
back.
first. I don't like that. Either way, pass it along, please.
It is weird that the points are first because you're used to looking at the far right of the screen, but I don't think you're.
No.
That's what people look for first. I get why they did that. That makes sense.
Will there be a topic on ESPN that you do not defend?
Will there be a topic on this program that we ever agree on?
Pro college football playoff rankings, pro ESPN box score.
Whoa there, Turbo. I am not pro the rankings. I was just trying to help give some rationale.
Good company advocate.
Trying to get a playoff game. Let me live. No. Also last night.
You already got one.
Huh?
You already got one.
Yeah, but that was a year ago. I don't know if I'm going to be a repeat offender or not.
That's true.
Nikola Vucevic hits the game winner at the buzzer last night to give the Bills that win in Portland. Bulls, 121, 122, 121.
Dude.
But how about this? So the Blazers are down by 21 in the fourth quarter, come all the way back. They can't finish the rally. But this is like the second time in the last week or so that they've had this awesome comeback late, and then they lose at the buzzer. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Portland perspective of it, which you're talking about here. How about Chicago's run that we have now kind of seen?
Sure.
This road trip has been insane for Chicago. And by the way, like, they have had a bunch of these things where I think you're probably living on the edge, and the balloon's going to let the air out at some point. But Vucevic hits the 3 to stave off the Trailblazers comeback. This road trip for Chicago, they were in Utah. They lost in double overtime, 150-47. They were in Denver. They win 130-127 the day after. Think about that brutal swing, the mountain trip where you have to play up in the altitude where it's Utah, then Denver. Then you come back up to the Pacific Northwest and you have to come back and beat this team that it looked like you were beating up on 122-121. They're back in Chicago tomorrow to face Miami. Bam Adebayo came back, but got the game circled. Mm-hmm. One would assume that at some point you got to give up the rope because you can't keep ripping off these tight wins and hitting these game-winning shots. Remember, about a week or 2 weeks ago now at this point, they had a ridiculous game against Philadelphia where Nikola Vucevic hit a game winner. So they have been living on the edge, and more times than not, the coin flip has gone their way. I would assume that this is going to fall back down to earth at some point.
I know we'll do best bets at the end of the day like we always do, but when you were looking through the Thursday card, any games that really stood out to you early that you think people should know about now?
Yeah, there's a couple. Well, the two really that I have something on: Atlanta, San Antonio, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. We'll focus on Atlanta, San Antonio. I'm going to assume, and at DraftKings, I think this is the case. I'm going to call my shot, and this isn't a big shot. Atlanta, I think, is going to go off as a favorite tonight. So I bet them on the money line. I got about minus 102, minus 103. We're starting to head in that direction. A bunch of minus ones. Some spots are at pick. I think, like you said, DraftKings is minus 1.5, but it's shaded to the dog side. But this is, I think, a situation in which Atlanta being a little undervalued. Look, San Antonio, their injury report is rife with bodies here. You look at Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle's out, Dylan Harper's out. It's a triumvirate of young guys that are very important to the Spurs' success. They've won the 2 games since Wembanyama got hurt. But congrats. It was Sacramento. It was Memphis. I don't think it was in that order, but regardless, you're not exactly taking out stiff competition. Meanwhile, Atlanta, Stormy, I don't know if you know this, but since Trae Young went down, from Halloween and onward, this is a team that is, I believe, 7-2 straight up and against the spread. They're a top 7 team in defensive rating. They're a top 10 team in offensive rating without Trae Young. They've done a really good job. They're big. They're switchable. They're super rangy with all of their wings that they have out there. They've supplemented their offense by getting out in transition, especially off of steals. They're a really good group, and I think they're going to be able to, here in this spot on the road against San Antonio, get it done. Coming off of a loss to Detroit, too, so a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. Riche is questionable. Porzingis is questionable. But I bet this either way because, one, I think one or both of them are going to play. And two, I actually don't think either is vital to the success that they can have here in this spot.
Your Clippers at the Magic getting 5.5. So what's I know that injuries have not been good to them. No. But after the 3-2 start, won just one game in the 9 games since, and it went to double overtime in order for them to get there. How about tonight against the Magic? Can they have some life?
So I talked about this with Zach Cohen on Hardwood Handicappers. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. I'm on every Thursday. So I think 6 and 5.5 is a bridge too far. We saw a couple of 6s pop, and they immediately got taken back down. So I think the market is generally in agreement with me. Keep in mind that while you're talking about this slide that the Clippers are on, and you mentioned the overtime victory, they have covered, I think it's 2 or 3 straight. So similar to what we talked about with Indiana, I think we're at that market low where it might be worth kind of frequently betting on this Clipper squad until we really get the turnaround with the market adjustment. But having said that, look, they don't really pressure the rim at all. They don't take a lot of shots within 4 feet of the basket. By extension, you don't get to the free throw line. They're an old jump shooting team that doesn't run and get out in transition. You mentioned the injuries. Kawhi has not been available. Beal's done for the season. Derek Jones Jr., who's very important for them, former running Rebel, is now gone too. So I just think this team is kind of old. They're not defending well, and they're trying to desperately find offense in some other places. They're better than what they've shown. They're not going to get over their win total. They're not going to be competing for a championship, but I still think that they're going to push for that top of the play-in at some point once things get back to normal, once the three-point shots start falling a little bit better, and once they start playing a better brand of defense that I know they're capable of. We
had some pretty good college hoops yesterday as well. See, I don't know how you can handle as much information in your brain as you do, but you watch everything, and it's awesome, but looking to today, anything that stood out to you?
No, well, okay, so there's a couple of things. First off, Alabama, great game yesterday. Philly was awesome. It was a fun game. So today, I needed to ask you. You don't have to have any information, okay? Are we not playing USC? Troy goes out.
Ultimate letdown spot.
Yeah, right? Troy goes out, wins in double overtime against San Diego State. Now you got to go back on the road. Your big underdogs, it's 18.5 against USC. And a dramatic game. I mean, we're talking double overtime. I showed you Miles Bird's game-tying shot at the end of regulation. It was a ridiculous affair that stretched 2 overtimes. Now you got to go on the road again to take on USC?
Tough spot.
I think we're going to go. Are we going to do this?
Is this a blind play like we did blind
Notre Dame play? Yeah, I think it is. You know what? I'm adding it. Let's go. I'm going to have some fun. Let's do this.
Go Trojans. That'll be good for me because I was looking for another way to back USC this week, considering it's USC Oregon week in football. And I needed something else, so we'll get the Trojans juju going. We've got to step aside here. You hear the music, but when we come back, Joe Burrow practiced in full yesterday. Is this real? Is he coming back? We're going to discuss that and some other big picture NFL news items coming up after this.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's a great time of year better to be a sports bettor, and right now the all-new Boomer Sportsbook is bringing you the action. Football, hockey, hoops, and more. Use the code VSIN250, that's VSIN 250. When you sign up for a Boomer's mobile account, they'll match your first deposit up to $250 in bonus bets. Plus, get minus 105 prices on all pro football spreads every regular season game. Download the Boomer Sportsbook app today. You can learn more at betwithboomer.com. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions do apply. Please bet responsibly. Speaking of those spreads, one of them is on the move right now with the Cincinnati Bengals and New England Patriots. Why, you may ask? Well, JVT, Joe Burrow practiced in full yesterday, and now everybody's shaking in their boots. Could he come back and be... I do want to point this out. Last time I checked, even if Joe Burrow did come back, he still doesn't play defense.
It's very true.
Could have an impact.
Maybe he's going to give it a shot.
Why, though, is my question.
I don't think he's really going to play defense. What do you mean?
No. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant giving it a shot this week. Yeah, please no, Joe. I know you can do it all, but
I mean, the why is that they can theoretically still win the AFC North. They still have 2 games with the Ravens left.
Well, and that's my next question is, do you think that they can...
I'm not going to play this game. This is the equivalent. So I get crap all the time because I believe in my Clippers every single year. This is that equivalent. I'm tired of hearing every year, Joe Burrow and the Bengals might be kind of dangerous. Like, no, they don't play defense. They stink.
Also,
I don't know what the point is here.
The Bengals offense, even with Joe Flacco, they've been a top 5 offense, but they have the worst defense in the National Football League. And I don't think Joe Burrow entering the chat is going to fix that.
I would agree. I think there's some metrics you could point to. I alluded to these yesterday that Flacco has not been as good as maybe some of the returns have been. We've seen it here and there. But either way, I think the overall point, the answer to your question is easily, we have 2 games left against Baltimore. Our division stinks. 9, maybe even 8 wins could win the AFC North. And if that is the case, we still have an outside shot. We don't have that much room for error, much like it seems to be every year when we're talking about a late season push from the Bengals. But at least it makes sense. It's not like they're, whatever it is, 2 and let's say they're 1-9 and on the outside looking in and very much almost eliminated. You can at least see the path they're trying to go down. But I'm generally with you in that, look, the defense stinks. You're in a million shootouts. By the way, Jamar Chase isn't available, so that's going to be something that's somewhat tough to overcome, although, you still have some pretty good weapons in Higgins and others. But it's a tough mountain to climb, but at the very least, you understand why they're attempting to climb.
So this line was 7. We got the Jamar Chase news. It went up to Patriots minus 8.5. And now with the Joe Burrow practicing news, we're down to New England minus 6.5. The total 50.5. Here is Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor on the 2 Joes and the potential of Burrow giving it a go on Sunday.
Joe Flacco feeling? Is he going to practice today?
He won't practice today. Same schedule as we've been on the last couple weeks.
And that's just maintenance, normal.
Yeah.
He'll practice tomorrow.
Yes.
Will he definitely start on Sunday?
We'll keep working through it, and see how we go through the week.
Is there a scenario that Joe Burrow
hasn't practiced 11 on 11 yet. So like I said the other day, until we get through some practices, there's no reason for me to even speculate on that.
But without Flacco, can Wednesday kind of be Burrow's day and then Thursday kind of be Flacco's day?
Yeah, I think you can certainly get a lot of work in with Joe Burrow today, because Flacco's not practicing, because the plan has been to get into 11 on 11. So it works well. We're not trying to balance a guy who was going to practice on a Wednesday. Joe Flacco hasn't done that. We got to think of another way to communicate this, because the 2 Joes, that really is this is getting harder and harder every week that passes. But so we'll get through today, and it's just a good start to get Joe out there in 11 on 11 and see how it goes.
And he did. And he got through 11 on 11. There he is. Is he jumping? I don't know. It's a very odd image. Either way, got it done. He practiced. He's starting this week, dude.
It's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So here is their remaining schedule, by the way, real quickly. New England this Sunday, home and home against the Ravens, as you referenced, at Buffalo, at Miami, and then Arizona and Cleveland to close out the year.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If we're talking about this margin for error that you don't really have, why would you waste a week in a situation against one of the best teams in the AFC?
Yeah.
If you're going to start him, it's this week.
And Patriots defense that has its flaws.
Yes. So I think this is it. So I guess the question becomes, when and if we get the official news that he is going to start, where does it eventually get to? Should we, I'm saying declaratively now that I think he's going to start. Should I just be taking this 6.5 here because this closes, what would you say, 4.5?
Probably.
3.5, maybe, somewhere in that range. If Burrow's out there, minus
How crazy is that to think about what a significant adjustment that would be against a team that has had as much success as they have in New England this year?
Yeah. And by the way, we're saying Patriots still favored by 4.5, just for anybody who is questioning whether or not. I do not think there would be a 10-point flip because of Burrow's presence.
I anticipate that the total would probably keep moving a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you would think that that's the case with Burrow out there. So, man, maybe I should just bet this. It seems like that's it. Like, again, if you're going to give this a shot and try to win the AFC North, it starts now. And if he's practiced in full, what are you waiting for? It's not like you're integrating him into a system he doesn't know. It's not like you're having him throw to guys that he's not familiar with. This is all familiarity. It's just you're back with injury, and I would assume that we're going to see Flacco, or it's going to be a Burrow out there.
Bengals 35-1 in the AFC North, by the way. The Ravens minus 310 favorites, Pittsburgh plus 265. Speaking of the aforementioned Baltimore Ravens, any concern? Lamar Jackson not at practice again yesterday. He did miss last Wednesday with the knee soreness. Yesterday was reportedly an ankle, but in my mind, and I don't know what your opinion is, it feels like it's just, okay, give him Wednesday off, and then he's going to play again on Sunday just because of the wear and tear of the season and the injuries he's had. Yeah,
I mean, I think I'm a little worried, but like you said, it just seems like this is a total like summation of bumps and bruises, and then maybe they're just giving some time off. But look, I mean, I bet him a 7-1 to win the AFC a couple of weeks ago, and now all of a sudden I'm watching him scuffle with the Cleveland Browns, and he's missing practices generally, and Joe Burrow might be back. It's not like I feel great.
I'm not going to say anything because I know whenever I do, bad things happen. Ravens minus 13.5.
Don't do that.
Minus 13.5 this week at home against the Jets. Total 44.5.
Can't believe you would even think it.
Any early thought here? Or we have other quarterback news we can get to as well.
Let's get to the other quarterback news, Stormy. Whatever could it be?
Well, you wanted to hear from J.J. McCarthy, didn't you?
Okay. Did you hear this clip yet?
I have not.
Okay. So let's get this ready. So McCarthy, you feel bad for the kid because he's clearly, it's so weird how we are as a society. At the beginning of the year, you and I both kind of were like, man, we're talking about this guy like he's like Tom Brady reincarnated. You know, there was just this blind belief that he was going to hit the ground running and he's great. Now it's completely flipped. Dan Rossini's putting out clips like, oh man, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. Is J.J. McCarthy even a Viking next year? Like there's all sorts of like, we've just come completely in the other direction.
That is kind of how she talks.
Yeah, right. And so now every single thing that he says is getting dissected and he's getting destroyed for it. Listen to what he says here about just the way he's learning to play position under O'Connell, how it's gone for him. This is at media the other day.
When it comes to things like posture and mechanics, how much of that stuff is new in terms of what they're asking you to do versus the way you've been taught or coached before on it?
It's very new. You know, coming in here, I was taught how to play quarterback in a very different way, and that's, you know, expected going into the league, going into any new team, any new system. But at the end of the day, you know, it was really just the injuries that I felt like, you know, kind of took away all those reps and the constant repetition to make those a habit and make them concrete like KO talks about. But yeah, I feel like, you know, it's just the repetitions. You know, how many times could I go home and every time I take the dogs out, I'm getting, you know, 10 drops each time. Little things like that where you just keep building the reps.
The quote that everybody's running with is I was taught to play quarterback in a very different way. Yeah. Which, I mean, many people are pointing out because I think it was recently, is it like his personal quarterback coach that was under fire for some comments that he made or something like that? And maybe you fire the guy, whatever it is. But look, this kind of speaks to what we've seen with it, which is this has very much been a work in progress for McCarthy. And the expectation from the betting market that this team was going to be perfectly fine, obviously that was wrong. As you have noted in our rundown here, not only the poor touchdown-interception ratio, but the fact that he has thrown a pick in 5 straight starts. That is something that has clearly been an issue. And I am very curious to see if he ever kind of turns the corner because you've got a tough opponent here against Green Bay. I would argue maybe the number's a little too high given what we know about the Packers and their penchant for being a little overvalued by the market. You see the ATS record there. That's point of evidence. But it's interesting to hear that he at least is acknowledging that this has been a very tough work in progress, if you will.
There have been a lot of people I've seen kind of coming to his defense as well, saying that, well, Josh Allen had very similar numbers when he started his career.
Nah.
And obviously he's gone on to be an MVP caliber player and all of these things. I tend to be of the belief that Josh Allen and the things he fixed are more of the exception than the rule. And I just don't know what we're going to see from J.J. McCarthy yet. All we've really seen to this point, in my opinion, has been flashes. And they've been great flashes, but that's, I need to see 4 quarters in a game of you being the same person. You can't be 9 1 minute and be JJ for
1 minute,
59.
1 attempt.
Yeah.
It's like it's one good throw. I think every game we've watched, we've been like, oh, that's a pretty good throw. Yeah. And then like after that, there's nothing in between. So it's pretty hit or miss. But either way, look, there is some, well, I won't call it support, but you're not seeing 7s show up on the market. So there's definitely, I don't know if it's a fear or whatever you want to call it, there's a trepidation for books to at least hang up that full 7 because one would assume that it is going to be grabbed relatively quickly.
That said, I'll tell you, there is an against the spread trend with this game that could tempt you otherwise. We will get to that and more when we come back because we're going streaking, looking at some streaks and trends that could be worth a look in week 12 of the NFL.
Lowe's early Black Friday deals are going fast. Don't miss up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. And with Christmas around the corner, you're gonna need more string lights, right? Save $4 on GE LED 100-count string lights, now just $5.98. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody!
Let's get into it. We're going streaking, ladies and gentlemen, looking at some notable streaks in the NFL ahead of week 12 kicking off tonight on Thursday Night Football. But because a moment ago, last segment, we were talking a little bit about that Vikings-Packers game. Might as well start there first. The Green Bay Packers, JVT, 0-6 ATS when laying at least 6 points. They're also 1-7 against the spread their last 8 games, riding a 3-game no-cover streak. Do you think the streak continues and the Vikings can cover a big number? Packers can't seem to do it.
I mean, I would rather be on the side of the Vikings if we were forced to choose. As much as that failed me, by the way, last week against the Chicago Bears, I would say that Green Bay has shown that they are not the team that the market thinks that they are. And you can use ATS records for whatever reason, but I'd like to use it, and I think a lot of people do, as a gauge of how accurate the market has been with you. And the fact that this team only has 3 covers to their name so far this season, they have very much proven to be an overvalued betting team. Yeah. So maybe this 6.5 is that adjustment. I would say it's an ever so slight adjustment too. I mean, you're looking at last week and where the market had these guys rated a little bit higher. So we've seen a little bit of a push, but still, going back to the question you asked this last Sunday, why do they play to their level of competition? Yeah. Maybe it is their level of competition, and maybe this should be a little bit tighter. Maybe they're just not that team that many expect them to be.
And that's what I was going to say. I liked the way you phrased that on Sunday when I was asking the question. I was like, week after week, why does this keep happening when they're playing lesser than opponents and they play down to them? You're like, maybe that's just who they are. Yep. So we'll have to wait and see. The Lions, so this is one that has been well documented, but it's been a reality, JVT. The Lions have won and covered 13 straight games following a loss. 10.5 points they're laying against the Giants. What do you think?
I guess there's something to it. There is something to responding to adversity and handling it the right way, coming back. I mean, I would love to see what their opponents were, what situations they were in. Obviously, it's pretty much a small sample size, but it does speak to, I think, good coaching, the fact that you can bounce back after a loss and grab a win and maybe even cover and blast through market expectations the way that they are. You're laying a big number against the Giants, so I guess you have to decide if that's enough because 10.5 is huge. I think it makes sense, but would I use it as a reason as to why I'm betting them this week? No.
Again, these don't have to be reasons, but just supporting arguments.
Well, what do you think?
When all is said and done, you literally took the words out of my mouth on that one because I think that's one of those things where, I guess, those are the words. Maybe the phrasing of that was poor, but you got the gist.
Yes, I did.
The Browns starting to
so easy to derail you.
Because I hate you so much sometimes. We know Shedeur Sanders is going to get the start this week for the Cleveland Browns as Dylan Gabriel is still working his way through the protocol. How about this one? The Browns are riding a 17-game losing streak in games a quarterback has made his first career start. It is the longest streak by any franchise since 1950 when QB stats were first recorded. The Browns are getting 3.5 at the Raiders this week, so they are expected to lose the game. But do you think that's the case again?
Well, so this is their quarterback making his first start, right? So, I mean,
yeah, that's
I'd be
the
curious.
17 straight.
Yeah,
the last 17 quarterbacks who have made their first career start have lost that game.
I'd be curious to see how many of these came in the last 2 years, last 3 years. I mean, they've been rolling guys out. I guess there's something to it. The Browns stink. They've been a bad team. I don't know if it's specifically to a guy making his first start, but given the laundry list of quarterbacks that they have had and started, I would assume that you're talking about, obviously making your first career starts, young quarterbacks in situations that aren't really great for them. Case in point, this week, where Shedeur Sanders behind this offensive line is going to have to take on Max Crosby and the Raiders on the road, which is a very tough spot to be in. So I can understand it. I think the problem is, and I know you like this, it's not like the Raiders are great.
They're not, and I've been anti-Raiders for a long, long time.
But
I laid that 3.5 this week, sir. I listened to a very convincing Jensen Lewis this morning, who knows that Cleveland Browns organization inside and out. And he I was buying every word that man was selling about what the Raiders are going to do. He was saying, play the alts, play it up as much as you can. It's not going to be a good day. And I think that offensive line and Shedeur are going to have a tough time.
I might have another show back coming.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, for sure, I will say this. If you're telling me pick it, it's the Browns with 3.5.
Okay.
But, I mean,
let's do it.
We might get a 3-0 game.
I mean, I haven't bet the Raiders all season. Do I really want to make that show bet on a team I never play?
Maybe. I haven't decided yet. I'll decide by the end of the program.
Okay, we were talking about Lamar Jackson a little bit earlier. Missed practice yesterday with an ankle. Double-digit favorite. He is 17-0 outright in that spot. 11-5-1 against the spread with 3 straight covers. Does the streak continue, laying 13.5 at home against the Jets?
I don't know if it continues, but I think it does make sense. I mean, they've been, in Lamar Jackson's time, a very good offense. Obviously, when you're a double-digit favorite, the team that you're facing is a relatively poor team. So, to the point of coaching and winning 17 outright, you're going to take advantage and beat up on the teams that you should. I think that's kind of a staple of Harbaugh on this Ravens team. And the fact that they're good offensively means that they can score a lot and drive it up. So I think it makes sense that they are here. Again, all right, 13.5 versus the Jets. I think you can. The problem is I just watched what they did against the Browns. He's missed another day of practice. And this team, outside of the 2 games in which he came back immediately, looked good. But I don't know, maybe it was more about the Browns defense than anything else that Baltimore struggled last week.
Speaking to that, Jets defense hasn't been lights out. Overs are also 20-7 in Ravens games since the start of last season, highest over rate in the NFL. One more piece on this game, because this did surprise me, and I didn't realize this was the case. Mark Andrews has gone 7 straight games with fewer than 35 receiving yards. Longest stretch of his career, JVT. His receiving yards prop Sunday, 30.5.
Over.
Over?
I don't know, I'm just saying over. I mean,
you think against this defense, there could be opportunity?
I was going to say, it's also it's a pretty low number given where his role is in this offense. I know that it's been pretty poor, but I mean, aren't you buying low at this point right now?
That's what it feels like.
Jets right now, if you like the DVOA numbers, the 30th ranked defense against tight ends.
Okay. Yeah. That could be the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Over a low number, buy a low spot against a bad secondary. Let's do it.
I'm back in.
Your boy, Daniel Jones. Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
He has thrown 4 picks the last 2 games after throwing just 3 his first 8. Minus 128 on the over and interception in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Should it be played? Do we get a streak out of Daniel Jones that it's 3 straight with a pick?
I don't know if it should be played. Having said that, to your point, not only has he thrown those 4 interceptions in the last 2 games, and a lot of it had to do with the Pittsburgh game. That was a terrible.
5 total turnovers for him in that game.
Do you know how many turnover-worthy plays he has had in the last 2 games?
Ooh, I don't. What is it?
9. He has been putting the ball in danger. He has very quietly shifted back to good old Danny Dimes. And for the season, keep in mind, his turnover-worthy play rate is actually the highest it has been since his rookie season.
Wow.
So I think Daniel Jones, this goes back to, I've gotten into some arguments with some people about this, on social media, especially about how can you say he's not an MVP candidate? It's easy to say he's not an MVP candidate. He hasn't been asked to do that much, and very quietly boiling underneath the surface has been a dude that, in terms of the rate at which he puts the ball in danger, is much higher than what the surface level stats indicate. So I would say, yeah, I think there's probably a higher chance that he turns the ball over here again. Now, whether that's a fumble lost or an interception, that's the thing you have to kind of wrestle with, but I would say I would not be surprised if we see Daniel Jones throw an interception for a third straight game.
Minus 128, so there's a little juice on it toward the over, but I think reasonable given the way that he's played the last couple games. All 4 Jags road games have gone over the total this season. Over is also 4-1 for Arizona since Jacoby Brissett took over the QB1 role. Jags at Cardinals coming up Sunday. Total 47.5. Should we ride the over streak?
This one I don't really know. So what is it about the road games where Jacksonville, the offense is good and the defense is bad?
Either just defense plays better at home. I don't know.
Yeah.
But with
the raucous environment in Jacksonville, Florida.
The one thing that I'll say, and I said this about the San Francisco 49ers yesterday, they are an over bet for me right now.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Arizona Cardinals. Because Jacoby Brissett has made that offense look much more capable than we saw with Kyler Murray, and the defense is banged up pretty bad and not playing to their capabilities. So feels like an over team to me.
And he just set the completion record?
He did. He set is that not crazy? And you lose by 22.
Got smoked.
Insane. I'll hit you with one more on the way out here. Patriots running back Travion Henderson has 5 rushing touchdowns his last 2 games, at least 2 in each. If he could do it again Sunday, he'd be the first Patriots player with 2+ touchdowns in 3 straight games since Randy Moss in 2007. 2+ scores on Sunday is 3-1, and anytime scores minus 175.
Those are some ridiculous prices.
3-1 for 2 touchdowns. That's Christian McCaffrey pricing.
Yeah, that's a little nuts. I get it's Cincinnati, but that is a price that I don't think I would want to play. I guess it's not the best deal. It's minus EV. If you're throwing in some same game parlays, I would assume you're including an anytime touchdown leg there. But
toss it in.
Minus 175 is a lot.
Yeah, you're not going to – we've talked about this before. You're not going to be a very profitable bettor if you're laying that kind of juice on those type of bets often. But if you are ready to boost your bankroll, by the way, worth noting, Brocco's giving new depositors a 50% purchase bonus right now when you use the promo code VSIN. Brocco's lines are live on our VSIN betting splits page. You can see where the action's moving before you place any bet. Turn your bonus into an edge with insight that matters. Go to playbrocco.com today. And again, promo code VSIN.